The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Play Some Video Games. It is I, your host, your returning host, Kevin. Finally feeling a little bit better, so I might still cough, so you might hear some awkward pauses and stuff, but I am ready for action. And with me this evening is the boss man, Donnie. Sir, how are you?
Greetings, Koopalings. What's going on, Brother Kev?
Oh, hanging in there, making a comeback.
It's been a while, man. It's been like a month.
Probably, at least.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be talking to you. Can't go that long without talking to Kevin, man. Come on.
I know you gotta talk about other things besides Nintendo games. So
that's it. And
also with us, who assisted in covering for me last week, Coach Mo's back.
Yay, team!
See, Coach can podcast a lot more because he's on the right time zone finally.
His title is the Boss Man Don. I don't know why you added the NIE on there.
Oh, sorry. Because I don't call him Don. You do.
Well, it's an official title. We call him Donnie, but when we're talking about him being the boss man, he's the boss man Don.
I don't think his name tag says Don, though.
It does when you say boss man. It's science.
I thought his full name was Donatello.
I'm not a doctor. I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so how are we doing, guys? How's real life stuff before we get to the gaming stuff? So, Coach, what have you been up to, man?
Coaching football, watching film, playing Madden.
How's the season going? What's the record?
Not good, man.
Oh,
it's last year they went. I'm just prefacing. They went 1-9. This year we're 3-7.
Hey, you've tripled the results.
So they're the Browns. He's coaching the Browns.
We have 2 games left. Boys are trying hard. It's a culture of not showing up and not doing the work. And so when they don't show up and then they don't play, they're starting to finally learn you have to actually invest to be good in the sport. It's not like, there are some track athletes who are just going to show up and going to just dominate people. That's life.
Right.
But it's a team sport. All 11 have to play. All 11 do the job. And so they're learning. But otherwise, it's been really good.
Good. Yeah, for me, the returning leaky roof came back, unfortunately. So I had to go back up there again because we've been getting a lot of storms up here in the north. I mean, it went through you, Coach. You went through, well, it didn't really hit you. You just got a lot of rain from the hurricane there, which I'm sure Donnie will get to talk about a little bit too. The end results came up my way, so we just got dumped on a whole bunch of rain, a little bit of wind, but nothing major at all. And I noticed the leaky roof again. The ceiling was dripping, so I was like, oh, crud. So the next day afterwards, climbed back on the roof, and I took Donnie's advice and got some Flex Seal. So I coated half the roof with the Flex Seal stuff, and we'll see how it works. But it rained today, and there was no leak, so knock on wood. We hopefully will be good there for that. So other than that, though, it's just been gaming stuff. But we'll get to that shortly. So Donnie, man, you've been busy.
I patched a tire with Flex Seal.
Did you really? They say explicitly.
That really happened. It really happened. Excuse me. My lawnmower tire started to leak air, and I didn't want to buy another one because it's like $140, and they're at the end of the season. It's a riding lawnmower, and it's the rear big tire, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that now. I'm going to buy a brand new tire and only use it maybe one time, and then put it away all winter. So I started to address it. At first, I filled the flat with Fix-A-Flat.
Yeah.
Just to get it up, and I put some air in it, and then I saw where it was coming, so I marked it, and I totally painted the sidewall of the tire in Flex Seal, and then gave it some air, and it totally ran just fine. And I was like, fantastic. We will do this until next year. So that's cool. You got to get yourself some Flex Seal, Kevin. The stuff in the can, not the spray can, the actual paint.
I got the spray can first to put it on, and then I coated it with the paint afterwards. So I double dipped it.
Yep, you got to get yourself a nice roller and then do that. So, we had some of the effects from the hurricane, which I briefly mentioned on Shaq. We got a tornado in my county, the county that I work for, on Thursday, Wednesday. I don't even know anymore. Wednesday, I think. Wednesday night. We basically worked through the night, and the state is still very active. Most of the southern part of the state's without power, and a lot of cities without water and all that. So, yeah. So I mean, that stuff aside, it's been a long week. I was happy to get to the weekend, but the tornado didn't really damage anything crazy, and just knocked some trees down and whatnot. So we're pretty good. We made out pretty well.
That's good. That's good. All right, so let's get into the real part of the show. But before we do, we have to take a quick second to thank our amazing producers over at patreon.com/makeusbetter. Our platinum executive producer, Mr. Corey Hicks. Find over his streams over at twitch.tv/chicks_18. Big thank you to our gold executive producers, Mr. Mark Moody, Edwin Calo, Josh Borbone, Mike BC, and Panache Malloy. And then, of course, all of our executive producers, Sean Capri, Devin Tyus, Kyle Haiman, Brendan Myers, Tony Hutchinson, Donnie Reece, Stephen Iafrate, Caro Underwood, Dante Bellini Jr., Kevin Austin, Tammi Ryan, Robert Miller, Tim Aulph, and David Ray. Thank you to all of you for supporting us, each and every one of you, and also for our listeners, just for listening. We appreciate that. And because of you, we are hard at work making us bigger and hopefully better than ever. We're still in the transition period of setting up those additional feeds for the individual podcast shows. I know Dev did about half of the OT stuff, and he's hoping to get the rest of those knocked out shortly. Nintendo Shack live feed, individual feed is already live, so you can go subscribe just to Nintendo Shack. And we hope to have them all wrapped up soon-ish. But if you're interested in supporting us as well as Nintendo Nostalgia, Warp Whistle Gaming, and all of the Sean Capri stuff, check it all out over at patreon.com/makeusbetter. So, gentlemen, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about what we're here to do. That's video games. So with that, let's talk What You Playing, brought to you by Flex Deposed. Coach, because you're unprepared, I'm calling on you first.
I actually have stuff in the notes, so I'm totally prepared. So I've been playing a lot of Madden, which no surprise, it's kind of my game. And Dan and I Mr. Dan Anthony, the great one, my Madden yin and yang. We just finished our 5th season. Bears won another Super Bowl. That's 5 straight. We're looking, we haven't lost yet. Closest game we played, I believe, was a 3-touchdown win. We're doing really well. Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald look really good on my defense. But we ran out of drafts. This year on Madden, they have the created draft classes. So we got literally 4 in a row that were like legit.
Yeah.
Like we got Tua, we got all these, from Georgia. He's playing for the Vikings. I've been obliterating him for years. And we ran out of like legit ones. You know what I mean? Because all those other ones would be like speculation of high school people who maybe went to college and didn't.
Yeah.
So we decided, we were like, all right, do we go back into like a 1992 draft or one of these like really good old drafts? We found a superhero one. So the Chicago Bears, with the #1 overall pick, selected Bruce Banner, defensive tackle. The Bears also traded up to have the #2 pick, as we were very hurting in the wide receiver department. We selected wide receiver. What is the Flash's real name? Bruce Allen?
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen. Then we traded back up to select Clark Kent as our backup quarterback for Tua.
Okay.
How many draft picks did you trade?
I sold the farm because some of these. All right. So when you see a quarterback who knocked out 30 reps on the bench, who's 40 times a 4.4, and has all the intangible grades, what are you thinking? Draft that quarterback, right? So I sold the farm. I traded Aaron Donald because I just drafted Bruce Banner. I said, hey, Aaron, you're 32 now. It's been a great run. We've had a good time together. I love you, but it's time to go. And I traded him and got some picks and traded back up into I think it was the #4 or #5 pick and grabbed Clark Kent. Dan picked a plethora of Marvel characters. He is just, we both like sold out for this draft. Our bonus money was over. I think I'm 80 million in the hole because we had to pay the signing bonus. So this whole season, every game, all my money is going to pay those bonuses. Other than that, I did play Left Behind again last weekend because I'm to the point now where I don't know about you, Donnie. I can knock that out in about an hour and 20 minutes. So it's literally one sit through. I can fly through and get all the story. And I miss Riley so much. I think Riley is one of those characters that I just want around, but it's really sad that it can't happen.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, dang, I would have loved to have seen a storyline where Riley was the head of the Fireflies when all was said and done for Last of Us 2. But it can't happen. She does die at the end of that one. So spoilers. Really sorry if you didn't know that. But
I haven't played it yet.
No, it sucks for you. It came out
I don't know who Riley is, so it doesn't matter if it dies.
4 years ago. So it was my game of the year back in 2014. I was told it couldn't be my game of the year because it was DLC. And I said, shut up. It's amazing. And in 2 hours, that studio gave me a better game than I had played in years. That is, to this day, one of the best DLCs ever. And so I replayed it again, had a good time sitting and talking and just kind of enjoying that experience one more time. And it's one that I think every year I'm going to keep dipping back into it because it really is just one of the most powerful gaming experiences around. So, yeah,
for whatever reason, I never picked it up, but I've never actually gone back to play The Last of Us again. I played it that one time, and I was like, I don't want to ruin the feels I had during that game. That I was like, I don't want to go back and have it not live up to that again. Although I did just buy, well, not just buy, I bought a little while ago on one of the sales. The remaster was like $5, so I bought it, but I didn't buy the expansion yet. But I will play through it again, probably leading up to The Last of Us 2.
The DLC comes with remastered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's in there. If you bought remastered, if you bought the remastered version, you get that remastered too.
So why do they sell it separate though?
They sell it standalone in case you don't want to buy it. You can just buy Left Behind and play that. And if anybody's ever on the fence with getting The Last of Us remastered, if you just wanted a taste of what it is, then that's an option. You can buy it for like $3 and just play Left Behind.
Perfect then. Never mind.
Coach, have you played? Have you read American Dreams?
Yeah, my wife actually picked that up for me. Yeah.
Okay.
You and I are in the same boat there.
I wanted more Riley. I was like, that's something you definitely should do. That's a must-have. And it's fitting and it's timely that you started playing it because I booted it up this morning too. We exchanged that on Twitter. I actually woke up this morning and I was like, I wanted to play that. So I played like just the first chapter, the first little area, and then I dove into I never do this actually. I dove into the trophies because I was just looking at it like on the cross media bar, the XMB when
Coach looked
I stood there for. I was like, wait, I feel like we talked about that today.
Right. It was during that conversation. I was like, wait a minute. So I was looking at it and I realized I only have like 13% of the trophies or something, which is not uncommon. I'm not a trophy or achievement hunter, but this is a game that I've played the remastered version twice and Left Behind. So I was like, man, I feel like maybe I should have more of them. I'm never going to platinum it because I'm never going to play it on like Survivor or anything like that. But I went and looked at it, and there are several things that I either got really close to doing or should have done, like get all of the Firefly pendants, get all of the collectibles. And I went through my original game file save, and I've got like 47 of 50 and something like that. So I'm actually considering taking a step back and like maybe getting a guide and replaying it to get all the collectibles, because that's something that I would like to do. And that's like one achievement that I wouldn't mind having on the wall.
That was me and Lace's first platinum together.
Nice.
Was that the game? It was on her old PS3 that was in the living room, and it was one of those where like when it got put in, she yelled for me, and I was like, "What's going on?" She's like, "You have to see this." And I remember seeing it and going, "Oh, okay, let's do this." And one of my favorite experiences was knocking that out together. And then
don't you have to play it on Survivor to get the platinum?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I couldn't imagine one.
That's normally how we play, except I think on that one you have to unlock it first, right?
Yeah,
you have to beat it normally, and then you get the other. Yeah, so I went through and did it the second time because I actually prefer to play on the hardest mode on any game. So
you guys are far better gamers than I am. I don't think I could do it, but
it comes a lot of death. But like in my head, that hardest mode, it's the way that they intended the game to be. You know what I mean? Like I know some people are like, "Well, no, normal is the way they intended to be." And I feel like that's like the survivor mode is the way the devs like, listen, this is the dream that you're gonna suffer through this horrible craziness, and the people who find that pinnacle, that's gonna be the top of your mountain. And
when I played it the first time, I played on normal because that's what I normally play games at. And then when I played when I played the remastered version for the first time, I played it on easy. And if I recall, I believe I even tweeted about it. I think the game is maybe best played on easy because you're not grinding and repeating, battle scenes, which I don't think are, it's kind of like in a Telltale way. It's not what the game's about. It has good combat, but like it shouldn't be the focus of the game. I think at any point, if you're playing The Last of Us and you're getting frustrated, you're doing it wrong because you're missing out on all of the collectibles and the stories and the fragments and the newspaper. You got to do all that. That's the focus of the game. So, that's just the adventurer in me, and I play it like a Resident Evil game. Like I hide as much as possible, and I'm constantly, picking up. I canvas every nook and cranny and corner of every level. So that's another reason why I was thinking, man, I should really own more of these trophies. So I think I've got a little time here just to get into what I've been playing. I got a little time here, I believe, between now and Red Dead, because I'm actually kind of keeping the slate clean for Red Dead. I'm trying not to overcommit to anything right now because of Red Dead. I know Red Dead's coming and I want to be prepared for it. So, Kevin, this is what happens when you don't let me come PSVG in a month. We got a lot to talk about. I wanted to talk about Spider-Man. I talked a little bit about it, or I talked a lot about it on Flexipose. But for those of our listeners that don't listen to Flexipose, it is currently my game of the year. I really, really enjoyed it. That last act, that third act, really sets the game on a whole new place. It really goes somewhere else for me. I think the game was just right. I think if it had been inflated anymore, I think I would have gotten almost severely bored. Some of the infamous collectathon that is in that game, jumping through clouds and getting pigeons and stuff like that, not nearly as fun as the landmarks and the backpacks.
Yeah, the other stuff I thought was better than those two. The science centers, whatever they were, I didn't really like them.
And some of the missions, as I mentioned on Flexipose, some of the missions where you just it's daytime and you hop into a mission, all of a sudden you get this load screen so it can turn to night, and then it comes back and you load back into day. There are some things about it where there's a part of me that really just wants, like, it is my game of the year, so I'm not trying to hate on Spider-Man, but it just kind of feels like it's kind of like a rough start, or like the way games used to feel. Yeah. Where it's just kind of like maybe they were just trying to get something out the door, where I was really hoping, or not really hoping, I think maybe the sequel might be, like next level. It might be super big. But narratively, I think they did really well. As our PSXP guys did in their spoiler cast. I didn't know half of the characters because I don't know Spider-Man, so I can't speak to like the world of Mr. Negative and all that. But I really enjoyed the voice acting, and I think the only thing, the Peter and the MJ levels were a weird pacing choice. And it's not that I'm opposed to them doing something to give you some variety, but it's that they take such like a drastic, the game is so fast and then you go so slow. It's like there I feel like there's maybe some medium there that could have happened, a little more action, a little more doing while you're MJ and Peter, and a little less just like investigating. It became like walking simulator-ish in that regard, and I was just like, ugh, I could have lived without those, but still very excited about the game. Was that? I mean, what do you think about that, Kevin?
I think it's all fair there too. The pacing of it, like you said, it was a lot heavy-handed leading up to that third act, and then the third act went so quickly because everything was going on. Yeah, it was definitely a weird pacing thing, which is okay, because even though it was an older Spider-Man and established Spider-Man, they still took time to kind of build that world and that narrative, and I think that's why the first two acts were slower, and then the third act just kind of ramped up and went with it. The MJ stuff I thought was okay. This is definitely a different take. For MJ, hands down. Like, she's very much not the same type of Mary Jane we're used to. So it was a different take there, but I did like the kind of breaking up and making it a different style of gameplay. Like, instead of just being the web sling, which is tons of fun and stuff, but to give you a different style that you had to play through with the stealth missions and stuff like that with her, where, yeah, some of them were walking simish, but then overall, like, some of the things with her and Miles I thought were kind of fun, just to give you a palate cleanser in between stuff.
Yeah. You mentioned that it was an older Spider-Man, and jogged my memory. Another thing I was thinking, I because it's an older Spider-Man, or he's not even old because he's still very young, but I mean,
he's not a teenager anymore.
Right. An established Spider-Man. He's been doing Spider-Man for a while. I think it was a little odd how weak I felt for like the first half of the game.
Yeah, but I think they kind of had to. Otherwise, it would be too easy if you were taking on those bad guys with all your
Or
powers.
you would have just been more repetitive, because you'd been doing it. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely felt and enjoyed the level of, power that I got by the end. But I was thinking that when I first started playing the game, I was like, man, he's been doing this for a while. I'm getting beat down.
Right. There should have been a reason that he got stronger in the end. Like narratively, like something should have happened, whether it was, hey, all of a sudden now I got all this tech that I didn't find, I couldn't make before. Like there was just no explanation, just like, oh no, he just unlocks a suit and now he gets this thing. It's like, no, that doesn't really make sense, like story wise. But yeah,
as I said on Flixippose, it's a pretty game, but it's like pretty for an open world game.
Yeah,
I don't think the game is like best in class graphics. I said on Flixippose, I think Far Cry 5 looks far better. For like an open world game. So, the graphics department, I wouldn't, go anything, but all of that said, just offering a little criticism, the gameplay is fun. The combat is great. It feels like Spider-Man. You feel fast and fluid and agile, and I believe, Kyle said that on the PSXP spoiler cast, the mechanics of combat are very Arkham, but it doesn't feel anything like Arkham. Batman.
No, it's more advanced. It's the same idea. Yeah, it's the same idea, but it's way more advanced.
Yeah. And then just the web swinging. I mean, just to say it one last time, they nail it. And you can't like underappreciate how important it is to swing through the city if you're playing a Spider-Man game. It's not, that's it. That's the thing. That's the most important thing. It's like flying through the city if you're Batman. Like if that's not fun, it's not going to be a fun game because that's typically what you do. You're going to be doing a lot of that. And it's like playing defense on Madden. If the folks don't know their gaps and they can't make their covers, you're not going to like it because it ain't going to feel right. Well, Spider-Man feels right. And that's the best thing you could say about the game. So any of my criticism aside, the game feels, plays, looks like Spider-Man, runs great. It's got a really great story, which I didn't expect. I mean, I expected it to have a story.
Yeah.
But to have a great story, I didn't expect that at all. I did not expect to have a good story. So, blown away. Great.
And like I was saying before you tried it, it has things in it that like the story and the extras meant more to people who were into the narrative and into Spider-Man prior, but you didn't feel lost coming in, not knowing everything, playing through it, and you still enjoyed it too. So
yeah, even then I felt because there was there's certain things that I knew like from movies and stuff, like from that limited thing and from the animated series, and even some of that like the curveballs and the twist that the story takes. That was even a surprise for me because I was like, they didn't do that in the movie. Which is kind of what I was expecting them to do. So it's a great game. What a great exclusive to have. I mean, that's a big one. That's a big one. Life is Strange 2. Have you played it yet, Kevin? And why not?
Nope. Because it's not my what you playing. So
right, but it's on your Xbox because I bought it, and I've been kind of stumping our Discord about it because I don't see many of our friends buying it.
You're right. I
don't see any of my friends buying it. I haven't had like one person's like I bought it and played it.
I bought it. I just haven't
played it. Okay,
I've not been playing Madden.
Did Haley play it yet?
I had superhero Madden.
I haven't heard from Haley either.
The only person had it. I don't know if they played it.
The only person that I played that I talked to that's played it well was Rebecca. She stops by the Discord infrequently, but definitely more on Twitter. And she actually played it with me. I did a stream. Talk about a meaty chapter. 3 hours took me to beat chapter 1, Life is Strange. Now, you guys know me. I'm going to read everything and do all the things. Sure. But 3 hours. This ain't no Telltale chapter 1. It was a big... It ended twice where I thought it ended and it didn't end. I was like, well, that's it, guys. And it's like, it fades to the next scene. I was like, no, it's not. We keep playing.
That's right, because when Telltale ends, it ends so hard that they don't finish. So
hurtful.
Too soon?
Too
soon? Sorry.
I love Life is Strange 2. It is the best chapter 1 in series for all of them. The chapter 1, and I feel bad because Devin spoiled so much of it last week with his article. He just like walks you through the entire plots, and he didn't even mention it. He did like, he said it like it wasn't a spoiler. It totally was a spoiler. He mentioned that article saying, about racism. Mm-hmm. Just to provide a little feedback on that. I felt like the character involved in that scene was a little too on the nose. it was a little too stereotypical. I would have preferred it if they made it a little more grounded, a little more reality. He's just like angry and racist, like from the get-go. It's very much, and it's done to effect. Like, I understand the effect. Sure. The effect is they want to challenge your choices, morally, and his foil for you sets you up with a decision to make. And if he wasn't so evil, you might not be as empathetic or as violent as you would be. But since he already spoiled it, I'd say I spoiled it too. I beat the crap out of that guy. Beat the snot out of him. So the game throws a moment at you that, even though it was alluded to in the trailer and everything, its impact on me, I did not see coming. I even as I was playing and I was like, oh, this is whoa. I didn't, the way it like kind of lulled me into it. I just didn't see, it was a big surprise. And the end, by the time I reached the end with my dog Mushroom and the two boys, and the little journey that you go on just in chapter 1 is insane. And the connection between the two characters is on the level of like of Clem. I mean, it's up there. And I never thought that. I was actually thinking, I think a lot of people were thinking before, when Life is Strange 2 was announced. I mean, obviously you see the downvotes on the trailer and stuff.
Yeah.
I never thought that they would make me care about characters like Max and Chloe and Rachel Amber. And boy, did they blow that out of the park on the first one. And it started out with, some cussing and like some sex talk. It was very edgy and angsty. And I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't keep up. And it doesn't. It gets real mature and it gets real life real fast. And yeah, man, I loved it. I really, really, really loved it. It's definitely on my game of the year shortlist after one episode. I mean, if they keep it going, if the sequel plays out like this, I mean, I think it's like best in class of the genre. I like Walking Dead season 1-ish stuff.
I will commit to, you said it's 3 hours for the first.
That's what it took
I will commit to getting that done this week. I will play at least the first. There's only one episode out right now, or is there 2?
Just one right now.
Okay. I will beat it this week.
We don't even know what the release calendar is. And that's one of the reasons why, the Telltale stuff I feel like has me jaded. Because Telltale had that, like, they were banking on this final thing saving the company. I wish they would have told people that before they sold it. Like, you wonder how much it might have sold, but if they were like, hey guys, if you don't buy this, we're closing.
We're not going to finish it. So
yeah. I'm a little, I don't think Don't Nod is in that realm. But there's a part of me that's like, guys, if we don't buy these games as evident, an example has been made, they will go away. It's just the same thing, a Housemarque and their twin stick shooter and Telltale. I mean, who would have thought Telltale of all folks would just close? I mean, I think we all thought that they were doing well enough to keep making games. I didn't think they were on the brink of just closing and firing everybody. So, I mean, I wanted people to buy this game and I just didn't see anybody. And I was trying to remind people like Mo, you can buy this game and not play it. And I'm not telling you just throw money away, but if a lot of people that I was reading, when I was making these tweets, a lot of people are coming back to me. They were saying, I prefer to play the entire game straight through instead of waiting for episodes. I get that. You can still buy the game and then wait for them all to come out. I don't know. But Coach, when are you going to play it?
November, like whenever Thanksgiving is. Yeah,
okay.
Probably.
That'll be really good timing. So
I normally prefer to buy the physical edition so that I can trade it in when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't this time. I bought it digitally for you because you were like, guys, it's so great. You have to play it. And I was like, Donnie's only lied to me twice. So I'm going to trust him.
Is this my third strike and then I'm out?
Yeah, dude, if you lied to me on this one, this game sucks. I'm like,
dude, I love this game so much. There's so many. There's like 5 or 6 choices that I'm dying to ask somebody else how they made it.
Well, I loved the prequel.
Yes.
That's
my favorite in the series.
Yeah, I didn't like. I don't think I got through episode 1 of Life is Strange 1.
Yeah, I finished it. I played the first 3 chapters and then I stopped, and then eventually I came back and finished it. And I do enjoy Life is Strange 1, but I'm not nearly as entwined with Max, and that whole rewind ability I really don't like because it makes me feel like I'm playing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that is the definition of repetitive. Rewind and do it again. Rewind and do it again. It's like, and you know, I've had other people tell me they didn't like the prequel because there was no like supernatural stuff. Life is Strange 2 does have powers. There is something there. It's not Rewind though. So I'll go and tell you that. If you were like me and you're like, I don't want to keep replaying, it's not that. That's not the power. It's a different power.
I skipped Captain Spirit because there were no achievements. Do I need that for this one?
You don't need it for this one. Actually, it's very interesting. The two characters from Life is Strange 2 show up in Captain Spirit at the very, very end. That entire story is like completely side off thing. But Sean and Daniel, they show up at the very end of Captain Spirit. You see them out in the background, but it does explain the ending of Captain Spirit in a way that if you don't play them, you may not know. But I can't say enough about it. It's beautiful for one. Kevin, I think I posted in Discord, there's this scene where you're walking through the woods and Daniel walks up to a tree that's covered in moss and mushrooms growing out of it. And he goes, "Ooh, look, Sean, clickers." And he goes, he makes like this T-Lou reference. Yeah. And there's a bunch of those here. There's the Pac-Man reference and all kinds of stuff and shirts and stuff you find. It's really cool. Like from that culture reference, I was like, this is amazing. Neil Druckmann tweeted that out, by the way. He was like, I can't believe that somebody did this. It's so cool. I mean, I can't say enough how much I adore the game. To segue into a game I didn't adore, it was nearly as much, and that was Tomb Raider. Did you finish Tomb Raider?
I have not finished it because it kind of, I don't know. I want to like it, but I'm having a hard time enjoying my time with it. So I've played through some of it, probably 3 or 4 hours into it, I think maybe. And it just didn't hook me, which is why I started playing something I'll get to when I talk. But yeah, I got into it. It looks great. The mechanics are good. I can't care about these characters. I don't know if you're having the same issue or not, but like I just can't get behind them, and it doesn't grab me like some of these other games do as far as the narrative and the story and the characters.
Narratively, I don't think this one is nearly as good as the last one. I do think visually this one is best in class. Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks amazing on Xbox X. Like seriously amazing. Like jaw-dropping. The lighting effects through the jungle and some of the vistas and the amount of foliage that they have is seriously jaw-dropping. It's insane how good it looks. The climbing is really boring. You were making fun of Uncharted for being rock climber. Like this one does that a lot. And I had mentioned to, I think on Flexipost, there are these parts with this one that they're real big on where you climb upside down. It's like this new climbing thing with pickaxes where you climb upside down. And I swear to you, you have about 10 of those. 6 of them are the exact same. Like there are these little trenches that you have to jump. And I'm telling you, they're the same in like the same place. It's like they just used it and they used it over and over again. And that's a minor thing, but that's kind of how I feel about the whole game. It doesn't feel nearly as open as the last one did. And not that it's open world, but like the last one, I'll never forget, like you go to that factory and then there's like the wolves den that you do like outside. That whole area had a lot of verticality and a lot of like hidden caves and caverns and stuff. Yeah. This one's got some of that, but really you just you like go to this hub and you do your missions, and then you have like the option to like find like a secret shrine or two, and then like go underwater and collect bottles and collect plants, and then like the swimming sequences are really cool because they look cool, but the threats that you face underwater is like an eel. So it's just a quick time event, and then piranhas you just have to stay out of the way of and you die. So by the time I reached the end, I just kind of felt like I did the same thing a lot.
Yeah.
It felt somewhat repetitive. Spoilers, there are these catastrophic events that happen throughout the game, and I think those are really cool. All of them are really cool, like the tsunami and the hurricane and all. Like I was like, this is awesome. It made me want like an end of the world. I want 2012, the video game, because I was just thinking like how neat this stuff was.
During those, did you ever get a flashback to Gears?
Yeah,
right.
That's spot on. That is spot on. That is really cool stuff. That's one of the reasons why I actually always like the Gears. Yeah, the mass destruction stuff is really cool. Oh, and that Dia de los Muertos scene. And then the early part of that scene was gorgeous and it was awesome. That was fun. It's a shame that there wasn't more of that.
Right.
Because and the reason I say that, I often when I try to describe games, I always tell myself to say something besides I like or hate something. in that scene, there is investigative things, there are platforming challenges. And then there's like kind of the race through the people.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these different elements that you're playing to make that scene happen. Whereas later you just do the platforming for tombs, so it's just jumping across gaps and climbing walls, and then it's just combat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really no, there's no twist. There's no, I guess, specialness. And you're right, Kevin. The characters, they don't really build any of them.
No, they don't. I don't understand it because, like you said, they constantly try and draw this parallel between this and Uncharted, saying, "Well, this is the female Uncharted," and it's not at all.
Couldn't be close. Yeah,
right.
Further from the truth.
Yeah, it's better.
No, it's not.
Sorry, the best Uncharted game I played was Golden Abyss. So.
There's one character in Shadow that they try to build up. I still think rushed. You catch her halfway, maybe just shortly after halfway. But outside of that, like even like her companion, he's just like this puppy dog that follows her, and like she treats badly and yells at and tells him what to do. And it's very just sidekick-ish.
Please remember, he was stuck in a cage made of bones and a broken plane and only lived because she saved him. I'm just saying, if someone saves my life, I'm probably going to follow him around for a while.
Not if she keeps leading you into worse tsunamis.
I'm just saying, I'm probably going to
crashes. Yeah.
I'm only alive because of you.
Oh, and I've only almost died 13 more times because of you.
So I don't regret the purchase at all, and I'm glad I played it, and I'm glad I finished it, and I really liked it. It's just one that I won't be going back to, and it's not like on the 2018 list of must plays. It's just pretty good. Coach, you want to talk Forza?
I played an hour of it. It's good.
Kevin, you want to talk Forza?
I mean, I'll talk about it. I honestly, I'll go first then, because here's my deal. Game looks beautiful. It runs great concept.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's the exact same thing as Forza Horizon 3.
So,
and it's good. That's not a bad thing. It's not a knock on it. But for me, it's like, okay, this is a game I can pop in, do a couple races, and I'm not hooked. Like these guys, what is it? Josh said last night he played till like 3 a.m.
Yeah, he did.
There is no hook in this game to make me sit here and say I want to keep playing it for hours and hours and hours. I will play it for a short period of time and I'm good. And then I'll say, hey, I should go do another race, a day or two later, and I'll do one. But it's not grabbing me to play for hours on end by any means. But it does look great. It is a great game. Super awesome that it's on Game Pass and we got it for essentially free. Like because of that, like that's fantastic. It's just for me, it's more of the same, which is not a bad thing. It just doesn't excite me as much as apparently some of the other folks.
It is really interesting because while I am enjoying it and I am playing it and I played it today for like 3 hours, it is not grabbing me like the last one. Yeah. So it's so funny. You're like, this one's just like the last one. I'm like, this one's nothing like the last one.
See, for me, it's the same thing. It's you go to point A to point B, you unlock more, it gets bigger, there's more things to do, but it's more of the same things to do. And okay.
Doesn't feel as fun to me.
I think my issue is I had more fun opening up festivals with different things connected to it than I do different seasons.
And
houses. Okay, sure.
What is this house thing?
Yeah, I don't want to say the point of the house.
And I think the biggest thing for me was I love the Drivatar stuff you're able to do. I normally am really excited to like create a character and edit them and that kind of stuff. However, this had no allure to me because at the end of the day, like I don't play it multiplayer. So like me being able to taunt somebody online, that's fun. I'm sorry. The reason I spend so much time on my Call of Duty stuff is because if I play Stop 3, you're going to know about it when I do a wicked little move. However, I play this solo, so I'm taunting your Drivatar. That just seems mean.
Yeah, and the whole
written code.
The Drivatar thing too is weird. So like I know it's a big deal. Like, hey, it's the first time you really are your character or whatever, but they kind of half-assed the whole thing. It's like you're not customizing your character, you're picking one of like 10 pre-made characters, and then you could buy shirts, but everyone has the same shirts because you're all progressing throughout the game and unlocking them. Like there's not really any customization for it. So it's like, and everybody I look has kind of picked like the same generic white dude. So it's like, okay, we're all the same guy.
I didn't pick that.
Yeah, I picked a girl.
I know Donnie picked a girl.
I would have picked a girl with pink hair, but Sean picked her, so I picked the other girl, the blonde with the half cut.
Yeah, but it's like whenever I do the drive-tar race, it's always like you hit that podium and they show it. Everyone seems to be the same guy every time.
The customization for me really comes down more to the cars and the characters. But I hear what you're saying. With me, I'm 100% with you, Mo. I miss unlocking the festival. It felt like I was opening up the world, and it felt like my actions had meaning. And now I just feel like I have a list of things to do. And that's okay, because I think I have more jumps than everybody. I'm still breaking those signs and hitting the jumps. I think, more than the rest of us, and that I still enjoy. But the festival thing really kind of, I don't know, it just kind of bums me out because it just doesn't feel, like that was kind of the lore. You would unlock the festival, they'd tell a story, you'd meet the racers, you'd open up new events, you gotta do this, you can get the new thing, and all that kind of goes out the window. And then now it's like you get to race a train and a hoverboat, and
hoverboat was fun though.
And the Destiny-like events, I'm with Mo. I mean, that's not for me. I mean, case in point, I don't play Destiny. I don't really play anything multiplayer. You guys know, like that. The moment they said that's the same thing they did to Hot Shots. And you're talking about Kevin hates everything. I'm about to have a Donnie hates everything article because it seems like every game is being built not just for that, for like these live events and microtransactions and cosmetics. It really feels like most of these games. I don't even necessarily think this is a wrong thing, but it feels like developers are building their games specifically for their most chorused of audience. Like the people that are going to play their game the longest. That's who they're designing the game for. And I guess that makes sense. But it really feels like if you're not a part of that group, it's not going to be for you. And it's like, if every game goes that far, then, I've always said that I feel like I'm probably the more most casual gamer of the group. Like I'm feeling like I have a less and less amount of games that I can have as much fun as Coach Mo, who, drops 17 franchise seasons, and Nathan and Josh, who play together every night in Forza for a month, or Devin, who plays, Destiny same time with his friends for a year. Like I don't really have anything to do with any of those things. So, that's kind of a bummer, but that's not Forza's problem. Forza, it's still fun. I'm enjoying the racing, and I'm enjoying finding the barns and all that. That part's still fun. I'm not as enamored with the soundtrack. It feels really, really small. I've heard the same songs over and over and over again.
See, I've only played for an hour, and I've only listened to one station, so I'm not experiencing that yet.
What's your station?
Pulse.
Pulse. I've heard every song on Pulse 10 times, and I've played for maybe 10 hours. So I mean, it feels like you've got maybe an hour of content for each station, and then it starts to loop. I've went through multiple stations at this point, and I just kind of keep hearing the same songs. So to the point now where I'm starting to like mute the music. I'll play the music off and listen to my own music, listen to podcasts, which isn't wrong. It's just I really enjoyed that with Forza Horizon 3. I liked the festival scene, the music, like all of that kind of made the world feel better. And let's just say, I mean, I think we can all agree on this. Australia is way better than Britain.
Yep.
Britain's boring.
Yep.
I mean, it looks beautiful. Like you said, it is pretty game, but it's not like
candy. Yeah.
It's not like pretty fun. It's just fields.
Can you get to London? Is that part of the map?
I don't know. I've unlocked a city-ish, but I don't know if it's London. I haven't seen like Big Ben or anything like that.
That would be cool. I think that'd be fun to get races in down there.
But I mean, a lot of it just feels like grass. Here's a mountain, rocky cliff, grass. It doesn't feel nearly as diverse or nearly as fun. The views aren't nearly as good. Like the pretty spots and whatnot are not.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not. So I mean, like I said, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still playing it, but I mean, it's not. Forza Horizon 3 was Game of the Year material for me that year, and this one's not. Doesn't come close. Doesn't feel like that to me. So, Kevin, I'm going to save Assassin's Creed for last.
Yep.
I played Luigi's Mansion today on 3DS, and that's just Luigi's Mansion. To be quite honest with you, I'm a little let down with. I thought the game would look better. It looks okay, but it doesn't necessarily look better than like a whole lot better than the original. Like a lot of the menus and stuff are kind of fuzzy, and like just doesn't look like real sharp. Like even for like a 3DS game.
Yeah.
I played Mario Party, which I talked all about. Is there anything I can, after my whole spiel on Shaq, is there anything that I can offer more to you, Kevin?
No, I'm good. So I thought it was funny when you kept saying, as you were describing it on Shaq, that like, hey, there's nobody you can convince and nobody's in that same situation. It's like, I am in that same situation as you. I think you sold it on me.
Ooh.
It's just a matter of, like I said, I had it pre-ordered. The only reason I canceled it because money-wise, it was like, we don't really need it right this second. But I think it is going to be something we picked up because, especially at least the wife and I, we've been playing a ton of games together, which I'll get to when I talk. So this is just another thing we can add in and play with the kids too. So I think I'm good. Like you said, the online multiplayer thing, it wasn't like a big draw for me anyway, especially after they said it wasn't going to be, the board experience. So the fact that it's limited doesn't really matter to me because it's like, all right, if it wasn't going to be the full thing, then I don't care. But that's not going to prevent me from buying it. So I think I'm on board. It's just a matter of when I scoop it up.
I think you'll like it. I'm confident that anybody that plays this game will agree it's the best one since the GameCube.
And that you said that, and that got me excited because that's the last ones I thought were even good was the GameCube one. So
okay, good. So let's talk about Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Odyssey. Do you want to talk about the game first? Or do you want to talk about Project Stream first?
Let's talk about the game first.
Okay. So I played it for maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I didn't buy this game because I opted for Forza and Tomb Raider instead, and I think that was the right decision for me. I don't think the game is bad. It's just that this is like The Witcher, and it's like Skyrim. And you guys know, like, that's not my thing. My 3 or 4 hours that I'm in, I'm not particularly captivated with the story. I'm not particularly captivated with the characters. If anything, I feel like a lot of the missions I've done so far are just kind of like pointless, or not pointless, but just they don't really have a whole lot of ramification or like matter, to the story. And then that's kind of I'm still early on, so this is like first impressions. I've only played a few hours. I don't know how much more I'm going to play, but the game kind of feels hollow.
See, I disagree there. So
okay,
for me, you're right. Saying it's more like The Witcher, more like Skyrim, I agree 100%. Like, this is a big game. And not having played Origins, I don't know how much of that was in there yet, but this gets me more excited to go play Origins. I don't have a problem with the game at all. I will say, I think playing it on the PC, even though I'm doing it via Project Stream, I don't like playing it at the computer. I think I've kind of come to that conclusion. Like, there's certain games I will play on the computer. I do not want to play this on my computer. I want to sit on the couch. I want to sit in front of the TV, and I want to play it that way. The fact that it's massive, that doesn't bother me because me, I like those kind of games. Fallout is another example, stuff like that. You're right about the missions not really quote unquote mattering, and I think that's because of the nature of the character and the fact that he's like a rogue. He's for hire, so it's not necessarily like the story of him, at least not as far as I'm about 3 hours in. So at least for me, it's not really his story yet. I'm sure it'll get to that point, but for right now, it's more like this is just what he did back then that leads to whatever event hopefully becomes his quote unquote story. But you're right, it's a lot of like, I don't want to say fetch quests because they put a little more thought up into it than just being a pure fetch quest. You're not collecting backpacks like in Spider-Man. But the world is massive. The one thing that's still a complaint for me, which is not game breaking for me by any means, is all the stuff on the map, all the different things you get going. Like, so just in the first 30 minutes, you unlock it and you have like your main quests, and there's like 3 of those. And then I had like 7 side quests open, and I'm like, oh, where do I go? What direction do I take this in?
It's overwhelming.
So it's a little overwhelming. Yeah. Visually, it looks great. I think it's great. So it is something I do want to go back and play, but I think I'll play a little bit on the PC probably because we have it and we got it for free till January. But I think this is something I would enjoy 10 times more playing on a console than on the PC. But that's a personal preference thing. That's not a knock on the game at all for me. Coach, you played it a little bit. So what are your early thoughts?
I'm really surprised you guys are having map issues. I turned the map off, and so I was like very confused by that.
Okay, what? So you're doing the exploration mode, like
that's
okay.
That's the way that these are meant to be played. Ever since Assassin's Creed allowed me to turn the hub off, I turn it off because I feel like that's like when you're playing it, that's kind of the way you're supposed to. I did both intros. I did it with her and him. I prefer. I can't remember her name.
Cassandra. I'm playing as Cassandra.
I prefer her better. I don't know how their stories end because again, it took me about. Because that beginning scene you play, the Spartan one, that was like 10 minutes tops, right?
Yeah.
So I did both those, and I did the first mission for both of them to kind of pick which character I wanted to roll with.
Okay.
So I think it's a total of maybe 30, 40 minutes tops. But I enjoy her. I enjoy the interaction better. I think her character is going to be really, really fun. It's more Assassin's Creed, except I don't know where the blade's going to come from. And that bothers me. Because that's the thing that matters the most to me.
Right.
And so when Madden season is over and I've had my fill, which if anything tells me with me and Dan, probably season 10 is where we start to like slow down. And then, we get to like 15 or whatever. I'll probably about December dive into it. So
it's fair. I will say a couple of things I don't like too, as you brought it up, the Eagle thing. And I think that happened in Origins too. I don't care about that at all. So I hope it's something I don't need to lean on much in the game in order to play. You're right. The blades are a glaring omission to start. And the combat, I don't have a problem with it, but wow, combat in Assassin's Creed got complicated real quick. Like last one I played, it was like, no, you had your sneak attack and you had your thing attack. Now you're like juggling the triggers and the bumpers and then the buttons. I'm like, man, this is a lot more complicated than it was in Assassin's Creed to take people out, which isn't bad. It's just, it's a learning curve for me, at least from the last one I played.
And Origins was like that. So I'm a little more used to that. But, Coach, you sitting and play like the first hour. You get to hours 2, 3, 4. That first island you're starting on is like littered with like 50 things to do. And there's just stuff everywhere. And I'm always wondering, because you'll talk to one NPC and it's like you have 3 things that pop up on the map. And you're like, does any of this matter? You find yourself doing something. It's like, you just go into this cave and kill this guy. And then you like go over to the market and kill that guy. Go over to that ship and kill that guy. And you just that's all you're doing. Or at least that's how I feel, which is interesting because I wanted to kind of bring the conversation this way. I think it's interesting because for whatever reason, this one's not grabbing me. Where Far Cry 5 totally did.
That's true.
Zelda totally did. Is it any different? In Zelda, you just go to camp and kill those dudes and go find that shrine. I mean, it's interesting. Is like
one.
I was gonna say, if anything, the Assassin's Creed gives you more of a reason as to why you're going. They'll give you a story saying like, "Hey, this dude stole all my money. Go and kill him for me, please, and I'll give you some money." And Zelda, it's just like, "No, here's a camp. You have to beat these guys." Like, there's no real explanation half the time. So
I don't know.
No explanation in that.
I was thinking about it before I came on. How I don't know what I can say. I think there's a part of me that thinks it's because Assassin's Creed is so much more RPG than adventure game these days. Now,
I agree with that.
Not only am I doing the actions, but now I got to do the actions to get the thing, to craft the bow, to get the other thing. So I got to upgrade the bow, and I got to upgrade the armor, and I got to go purchase the thing, and I got to get the currency to get the thing. It's so much more complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot more inventory management and stuff like that. Yeah,
Whereas Far Cry and Zelda, it was just kind of go do the missions, but the whole time you were building a level to advance the story to complete the game. You're unlocking the camp, so you could, like all the missions you were doing to gain notoriety, to unlock the boss. Everything you're doing in Zelda was to prep yourself for the Master Sword and to take down Ganon. I don't feel that with Assassin's Creed. I feel like I'm just I feel like Skyrim. Like I feel like I'm just kind of roaming the world. And maybe you're right, Mo. Maybe I should just turn off the map and just play it like that and just treat it like a true adventure and start paying attention to what I'm doing and going around and actually maybe trying to take it in. But I got to tell you, if that's the case, I ain't going to be playing that anytime soon because the game is so huge. This game, and that was like my one thing with Origins was like, who has time for this stuff? Like this game is forever big. It's huge. It's insanely big. It's like 4 games. It's a bunch of stuff. I don't know. So that aside, Kevin, we are playing it on Project Stream.
Yeah, we are. So we both got those beta invites there too, and Josh did as well. So yeah, for anybody not familiar, this is Google's streaming service where they haven't really explained how it's going to work. This is just a beta test, but basically all you do is you log in on your web browser and you're able to boot up Assassin's Creed and just play it there. You plug in a controller. You can do Xbox. You can do the DualShock. I'm playing it with the Xbox controller. So you just plug it in and go, and you're streaming the game, which for me, I haven't had any technical issues yet, knock on wood. It runs really well. I checked my specs and said, nope, you're good to go. After playing it, 3 hours I did, which I did all in once, it was one sitting. I only had like one time where I don't know if it was my connection or it was on their end, whatever it was, it did kind of get a little blurry for a second, but then it kind of cleared right up. It's like when you're watching a YouTube video and you suddenly lose signal and then it comes back. It did like one of those briefly, but I mean, the controls seem to react on time. There doesn't seem to be any lag with that. And I mean, everything looks great. I mean, it looks better probably than it would have on my console, just because it's using my computer monitor and probably some high-end computer somewhere to stream it off of. But yeah, I mean, this is exciting. If this is how it's going to be, depending on pricing, this is a very viable option. I think for a lot of people like like Lucas, this be something great for him who's comfortable playing the PC. Me, I'm just not, so that's just me. But for PC gamers, this could be much like Steam changed the game. This could be something else that changes the game entirely.
If you could run Project Stream on Switch, if you could just open up a browser and plug in, I think a lot of people, the streaming thing, as people start to learn, we're a lot closer than people think. I've been saying this since E3, and I think a lot of people are about to learn real fast. But I streamed it. I streamed like the first 6 minutes, and I streamed like my first hour. And the same thing to report. Everything looks great, runs great. I haven't had any issues. Doesn't look as good as it would on X. I think sure. It seems to be capped at 1080p, but for what it is, there's no complaints. It's totally a playable game, and it plays well enough for long enough. There are times where I pan across real fast or anything like that, where I'll start to be like, slow down a little bit. Yeah. But outside of that, no issues report. We totally playing a big AAA new release in a browser with no big problems. That's a big. It's
crazy. It's crazy. Like you said, it's definitely coming quicker than we expect. I don't think it's going to replace anything anytime soon, but I think it's going to be a very valid option for those that have the internet connection capable of doing it. If it's an option out there and it's pricing, it meets people's demand there, and say, well, I'll give this a shot for, if they charge with Game Pass charge or something like that, then people are going to jump on that for sure.
I see it as a pillar of next gen.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So. All right, well, I'll talk for a little bit here on some games. I don't have too much to report in detail there, but Undertale, still playing that. Almost done with it, actually. It's fine. I don't want people to think I hate the game. I think for me, it just was greatly overhyped by everyone saying, you love Earthbound, then this is going to be the game for you. And it's okay. It's cool. Other than that, I've been streaming Prey, which everybody should know at this point. I think I have like 11 parts up on the website. That game is a lot longer than I thought it was when I first decided to stream it. I will say, for anybody that was a fan of Dead Space, this is a very viable alternative. Yeah, it really is. So, yes, it's not that kind of third person. It's first person. And there are some quirks here, like the weaponry is a little bit different than what you get in Dead Space. But as far as like the atmosphere, the things that happen, kind of the wacky story and the space exploration stuff, it's all there. Like this.
Do we have this on Xbox?
No, I have it on PS4. This was a purchase from before we did Game Show. This was last Black Friday purchases that I kind of went back to my PS4 and I was like, the family was using the upstairs TV, which has the Xbox, so the downstairs is the PS4. And I was like, I need something to play on PS4. Let me look at my library and see what I haven't played. And I'm like, oh, I haven't played this yet. Let's go. And it was October, so I'm like, all right, it's creepy. Let's go with it. Yeah, it's good. So I mean, if you can get it on sale, it's definitely worth checking out. At least I know critics weren't nuts about it. And I don't think it sold super well because Bethesda had a really crowded period where they released Dishonored 2, Death of the Outsider, and this like all within 3 months or whatever, as well as what was the horror one? I'm totally blanking on it now.
I'm sorry.
Their horror game. The Bethesda horror one that we both played the first one of. Oh my god. The Evil Within.
Yes.
So all these games came out within like 3 months because Bethesda just kept throwing games at us last year. So you should be able to get it super cheap now at this point. But if you like Dead Space, this is definitely one that you should check out as well. It's a nice alternative considering you don't get Dead Space anymore. So the wife has kind of been on a gaming kick lately. So we've done some board games, but I'll leave that to board with video games because they need all the content they can to talk about board games. Love you, Kyle. So Overcooked 2 came out with the DLC that we talked about a few weeks ago, the Surf and Turf. So we jumped in on that because we completed the main game for Overcooked 2. This is a lot harder. So if you're having a hard time with Overcooked 2, this is the scoring on this one. Like even the first level right off the bat, it's like to 3-star, you need over 1,000 points. Like right away, they're throwing it at you. And that's with just 2 people. So you play with more, it goes up higher. It's very much more of the same. There are some different dishes. You do some smoothies now and some kebabs are the things added. You're at a tropical beach resort for all these stages here. So they're all kind of beach summer themed. Some of the different mechanics they added in though is, new distractions to get in your way as you play through the levels, which is expected. But one of the things they do is they add a squirt gun. So you could use a fire extinguisher to get a fire, or you could use a squirt gun. But in certain stages, the squirt gun is the only way you can clean dishes too. which adds a whole other complexity level. You can't just run to the sink. No, you have to put the dishes somewhere else, and someone else has to squirt the dishes. So you got to aim that too and hit the dishes to clean them. So it's just more complexity there, which Overcooked is known for with their DLCs. Consistently got harder with the first one too, but they're always like dirt cheap. It's like $5 or whatever for it. It's totally worth playing if you like the Overcooked 2. So check that out. Overcooked 2 server turf. I know Kyle's jumping in soon on that as well. We played Rush, the Disney Pixar adventure, which is on Game Pass. So that's why we played that, because we did play the crap out of Disneyland Adventures before, so we thought this would be fun too. Cute game, definitely aimed more towards the younger crowd, but it's a little bit fun, and it's fun for me and the wife to play through because it's Disney. There are 5 or 6 different worlds, all based on Pixar movies. Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Toy Story, Ratatouille, and Cars, I believe. So 5. Oh, and Up, so 6. And those are the worlds there you play through, and each one has 3 or 4 different stages in them, but they make you kind of go through and replay the stages. They're not that long. They're like 5 minutes each, to unlock different paths and interactions with different characters from that world. So it's cool. It's definitely a shorter game, but it's a very cool reutilization of stuff that they had on Connect that they then made controller compatible and make you play through it again. So if you're a Disney fan, you got some kids and you want to go through and you can work cooperatively to get through, it's worth checking out for sure. And then the last one I bought a while ago for us, Dottie, so you do have this on your Xbox, is Unravel 2. So the wife and I booted that up and decided to give that a try because she wanted to do something different. The difficulty curve is a little bit higher on this one. So there are a lot of different button combinations and things you need to do to puzzle solve and get through. But if you make your way through the first world, they introduce, finally after a while, which is something you think you'd be able to do from the start. You know, your 2 characters, your 2 Yarnies are tied together. So you'd think naturally you should be able to hoist up and pull the other one up. Well, it doesn't give you that ability after you beat the first stage. So as it started getting really hard, my wife was like, I don't know if I can keep playing this. I don't have the coordination to do all these buttons combinations. We unlocked that skill. So I was able to go ahead and say, okay, well, I will go through and then I'm going to hold the rope and you can climb up this straight wall, and we can continue going through. So it's a good cooperative game, especially if you play with somebody younger who's not as good, or you play with your wife who maybe doesn't play as many games or whatever. It's a definitely good cooperative game to kind of play through. We knocked out the first 3 worlds last night. So the story, I will say, there is a story there. I have no clue what it is because it's very weird and obscure. So I'm hoping it makes more sense as I play through the game. But for right now, it's definitely worth checking out. I believe the game is super cheap. They're constantly putting them on sale. The bundle pack with the first one and the second one standalone is pretty cheap. So it's fun if you have somebody else to play with. I can't imagine playing alone is very fun. But if you have somebody else to go with, check it out. Unravel.
The first one, if you do get that bundle, is night and day better. I will say that.
Oh, so you play both?
Yeah, I played both solo and loved them.
Okay.
But one, much better story. And it's one of those things like it's not a tearjerker, but it's a thinking one. So
okay, all right. So fair enough. We're gonna keep playing it. She liked it, and then once I was able to help her get through certain parts, that made it a lot easier for her, and she's enjoying it. So that is it. We're an hour in, and we finished talking about what we've been playing, guys. So we're ready to move on to the news of the week. Coach, where's the music? Just put the bumper in.
This is where I go. Message for you, sir.
Nope.
Exit. News for you, sir.
This week in Play Some Video Game News.
I'm not sure what happens.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Not a whole lot going on in the news front that time of year, of course, where it's more about the games coming out than it is the news. But hey, PlayStation finally put into the beta testing there for early access, whatever they call it. PlayStation Preview Program, I think is what it is. We'll get to change our network IDs. Yay! So following Microsoft's blueprint there, first name change is free, $10 for any additional name changes after the fact. They did note that certain things won't change when you do it, like certain games that you played back in PS3 era or Vita era won't change, but I overall don't think that's a big deal. I will note that they are going to give, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you do get your name changed for $5 for your second one instead of the full price.
That's true.
That's a little cool. So not something I think that's groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but it's something a lot of people have asked for. So
I think it's groundbreaking.
Xbox has done it. It's not groundbreaking. Switch, I can do it right now.
Dude,
for free.
I've been waiting to do this since me and my wife's first PS3.
I think it's groundbreaking. It's definitely, it's notable. There's a lot of people that are jacked.
Well, it's notable. It's not, yeah.
It's only notable because it's not a thing. It's something that should be expected. It should be expected. There's a lot of apologists out there going, "Oh, it's not a big deal. Pick a good name the first time." It's like, come on, guys. You should be able to change your profile name.
Sure.
Now,
Well, my issue my wife, when she set up the PS3 and I jumped in, she just made a name being goofy. And I didn't realize it stuck with you and you couldn't change it until much later. And so my option was leave. I think I'm like level 10 on trophies, leave that and go back to 0. And I was like, ugh, I'll just stick with the stupidness. So, yeah.
So then the question is going to be, Donnie, are you going to change your name?
I'm going to try. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try by the time it gets there. I don't know. I'm glad that, the first one's free. If it wasn't free, I wasn't going to do it. But I don't care that. I don't even have PlayStation Plus or, the Live. So, I mean, it's not, for me, this isn't necessarily as big a deal. Honestly, the bigger deal is that I just now have to find something else to poke fun of Kyle and Seth about. I can't use this one for much longer. Now, I do think the interesting thing that I kind of agree with you. I think for most people, it's not a big deal, but this may or may not work with games before 2014. You remember that article came out that leaked a couple weeks ago? They were like, you're going to have to revoke all of your licenses for Vita and PlayStation 3. And we were all like, no way. That little thing kind of makes me think maybe. They're not saying that you're going to revoke all of the stuff, but they're kind of saying if you change your name, your Vita might not work.
Well, I think that's why it won't let you for certain things, because in the event that it would have, you would get your license revoked. So this is preventing it.
No. If you change it and you go back, it may not work. And you have the option to change back, but you can't play the old game on the new name we don't know, right? Like we don't know, and they're not detailing it. They're not saying what will happen. They're just saying,
I do see
issues and errors.
Yeah.
So I kind of expect, and I can't wait to see, because the moment this rolls out, some beta tester is going to whip out his Vita and start opening stuff.
I'm going to play a launch Vita game. Why is this working?
And there I would agree with you, because for me, I don't care. I'm never playing that stuff anyway. But for some other folks, they might, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in that regard. Like how many people are willing to move forward versus cling to the past. I mean, I guess if you have a good, if you like your name and it's a decent name, I guess it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. I think it's a much ado about nothing, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's finally happening.
Yeah, Coach. So you're changing your name, I assume, then? Yep.
I'm either going to be playing Nintendo with no G's, or I'm going to change it. I just don't know what to. I just
Yeah, I think I'll change mine to PSVG, Kevin, as long as I can, and just do it that way. All right, so not much to say there, like we said. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. An Xbox One update brings back avatars.
Oof.
Yay!
I've had this for almost a year, so I'm really. It's
because you're in the super circle that
When I saw this, I was like, guys, what are you talking about?
Your store doesn't work. Your store didn't work for a month. Because you're in the super preview.
Here's the thing. I've been playing so much Madden, didn't even notice.
You didn't even go in the store.
Didn't even notice.
I did open the avatar thing, and I did not like the new avatars. I don't like the way they look. All of my old DLC stuff isn't there. It's like my jerseys and Ohio State's, all that it's all gone. And I didn't have the option to use it if I didn't want to. So they just kind of forced upon me. So I didn't even set it up. I just canceled out and moved on.
Yeah, I'll have to go and look. But yeah, they designed the new avatars to be much more inclusive than the original ones. Gender neutral clothing, different body types that weren't available before. Anybody with disabilities able to represent themselves, prosthetic limbs, wheelchairs, whatever the case is. You can customize each element separately: skin, hair, clothes, accessories, with more than 16 million colors, which is, obsessive. But hey, it is what it is.
But none of the stuff that you bought before.
Nope. Because Microsoft also sells additional options such as design themes to franchises like Halo, Gears of War in the Avatar store you get. So yay.
Of course they do.
Yeah, it is what it is. But it's fun. It's good to see them still sticking with that. But also, the update introduced skills for Cortana and Alexa. And, it gives you an option to do voice control stuff without having to connect anymore. You can use an Amazon Echo smart speaker to do that. And Alexa just came on as I said that, so you might have heard that in the background. So yeah, anybody who buys an Xbox One S or Xbox One X bundles at Amazon will also get a free Echo Dot, and it's the new model. which is pretty awesome actually, because I actually have one. I just bought it and it came in the mail on Friday. And the speaker is way, way better, and Alexa's voice is way, way better in the new model. So it's pretty cool. And then the last thing they added was Dolby Vision was added to support the Xbox One S and Xbox One X, but it's just for streaming video apps, not for 4K HD Blu-rays, unfortunately. At least not for now. Yet, exactly. Yeah. So pretty cool, exciting updates from Xbox. Some new stuff coming our way, and more further pushing that smart home functionality for people who want to use their voice controls, which I think everybody I know that used Kinect all kind of said, like, no, the voice controls was the best part of Kinect, not actually using Kinect for that, but the voice controls a lot of people were a fan of. So it's good to find another alternative to make it still work, even though the Kinect is dead.
When they rolled that out a couple months ago, that was actually one of my favorite things they added. We've been using the Alexa for the Xbox, and it's just great because, like, I'll walk and make Alexa turn on Xbox, which she just did. Thank you. Alexa turn off Xbox. And I really enjoy it because, like, my wife can come in and I'm like, hey, there's an update coming out today. Can you turn it on so it'll update on my way home? And she can start the update for me. It takes her 2 sentences. So
we just got our name for the episode. Alexa, turn on the Xbox. All right, so Alexa's not talking because I said it. All right, we got to stop saying her name. She who shall not be named. So another bit of Microsoft news here too, and I got some flack for my reaction to this one, so it'd be nice to talk it out a little bit.
Yes.
Sources say that Microsoft is very close to buying Obsidian, so they're apparently finalizing the deal to pick it up, according to a bunch of people who were briefed in on the negotiations part there too. Last we heard, it was 90% finished, so it's not a matter of it's a matter of when, not if. This happens there. So Obsidian is best known for its work on Net Zero Republic 2, Fallout New Vegas. It's been independent since it was founded in 2003. So it's been an independent firm that's been out for 15 years at this point, with some pretty good successes overall. Pillars of Eternity, their newest thing that they've been working on there, coming out there too. Now, I will say, I think kind of people took it maybe the wrong way. So when Xbox came out on stage on E3 and announced all the new game studios that they picked up, when they picked up Playground, Ninja Theory, all the other ones they were also. This is where I struggle. It's not that it's not exciting news. It's that the studios they're picking up are kind of known for one or two things.
Sure.
While I think that's great, Microsoft needs to focus on things that they didn't have available already. So while picking up Playground is a smart move because they make the Forza games, Forza wasn't going on PlayStation anyway. So this was strictly more of a financial move, not necessarily like, hey, we want to bring more to the gamers. So I think like Ninja Theory, who did Hellblade, could come up with something original for Xbox and have that delivered. Obsidian is known for doing sequels to games that already exist using their engine. They're not known, their big spotlight is not for coming up with their new stuff. And that's where, for me, Microsoft needs the most help, is to get these things that are not available on other consoles, their new IPs, their new things that they didn't have previously, like Spider-Man, stuff like that, Uncharted, those opportunities to make Microsoft more competitive in that world. So for me, that's all I was saying. It was like, okay, this is cool. They need more people. They definitely need more studios. I am not disputing that at all. But I want to see somebody who's an innovator and driving something new for the big green.
Can I go now?
I think it's my turn, actually.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, Donnie, go. Get it.
Some of the things he said, I feel like contradict themselves. Some of the things he just said, I feel like contradicts himself.
He is from Boston.
Yeah, I mean,
not from Boston.
Same thing.
Boston. He's right. Playground makes Forza. It makes sense for them to be a first party. They were basically already second party. Was Undead Labs made State of Decay, game Coach Mo's real fond of. It made sense for them to come under because it was basically a second party anyway. But then you go, Obsidian isn't exciting because they don't make new things. Obsidian has way more things under their belt than every one of the other studios that they brought in. And I know. I didn't interrupt you. And they have extensive. Trying to think of the right word. They have extensive, at least well-praised or critically acclaimed RPG experience, none of which Xbox's studios have. Like they bring a whole separate thing, like Pillars of Eternity. People really like Knights of the Old Republic has been something that Nathan's been talking about on PSVG radio since episode 1. Like these are things that people like. Now I realize that they may not have the licenses and things like that. I mean, they did South Park Stick of Truth. They completely glossed over that. Like this is something new. So, this is a game developer capable of bringing something to Microsoft's table that they don't have. Now, I agree with you, Kevin. It's not revolutionary news in the sense that they didn't just buy Naughty Dog, but in that same sense, how often does how often does any studio get acquired? Like it's not something that it's not like there's like a yard sale of studios. There's not a lot of them out there. A lot of them get shut down, like with Telltale and everything that we see. Like it's not like they're just out there to be traded. So the ones that were available, you'd have to think that these folks have a background, a legacy that's got to have some value and some merit. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They make good video games. They have 15 years of history that say we make good video games. Are they best video games? Are they leading video games? No, it's not Sony. But you can't just go buy Guerrilla. You have to start a Guerrilla and start a Naughty Dog, and they're trying to.
Did you say Guerrilla? They did make a really bad game for the PS4. Really bad launch game, by the way. Like a horrible game.
Are you going to keep going? Or I'm stopping to let you have your.
I'm just saying, like when we talk about when you brought up Guerrilla, they have one good game and one bad game on the PS4. That's 50-50. That's all.
Okay, but Kevin, they're trying with the initiative. That's what they're hoping the initiative is. They want the initiative to be that. They want it to be 343. They want it to be the coalition. They have their big studios, but to say to like just. I guess to dampen the Obsidian news, I feel is misleading because I think Obsidian brings way more to the fold than Undead Labs and Compulsion does. Like I think they bring more than Ninja Theory in a legacy. Like Ninja Theory has the most recent hit. Hellblade was awesome, but we don't know they're bringing Hellblade.
Ninja Theory made something new. My gripe is Obsidian, like you said, they made successful games. Knights of the Old Republic. They didn't make Knights of the Old Republic. They made the sequel to it based on something that was already made by somebody else.
Okay.
Fallout. They took the exact same engine from Fallout 3 and just wrote a story, which is that's my gripe.
But a lot of people really like it.
Right, but Microsoft needs new. They don't need more of the same.
But maybe now that they have Microsoft funding, maybe they can. That's the thing. Maybe they can.
In my mind, let the studios
have option.
Let the studios go under and you pick up the good employees and give them the freedom to do something else without having the stigma of, hey, you were the ones who made Fallout in this.
Okay. I really see this as them going. I think Microsoft is looking at this as we just bought an RPG series. And I don't know what it's going to be. But and maybe it's Pillars, maybe it's something else. But I think Obsidian's just going to make RPGs for Microsoft. And I think that's a good move for Microsoft.
Probably.
I think it's a good move for Microsoft because they don't have that in the wheelhouse.
It's true. That's true. All right, Coach, go ahead.
All right. I think that people are missing something really big on this. The last time Microsoft was buying studios, one leaked. And I still believe that was an intentional leak to hide the other studios that were bought. I think the big story from this is this leak. I feel like they're purchasing another studio that's going to be bigger. And that's really going to make that, what is it called? November
XO.
Xbox thing?
XO18.
I think it's going to be, there's not going to just be Obsidian announced at XO18. I think it's going to be somebody who's going to floor Kevin and make him go, oh crap. Obsidian was just a little bit of icing. There's a whole cake underneath.
That would be
crazy.
That would be crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why when I saw the Obsidian news, I didn't go, oh, they picked up Obsidian. I went, why would Xbox let this leak in case it was to draw attention from something else they're doing?
I don't think they let it leak.
Yeah, it was somebody else that was briefed, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted it to leak.
I feel like a lot of times Xbox, when this stuff gets out, it gets out for a reason. The same way the controller got out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Xbox needed a little more goodwill. The controller blueprint got out.
My only thing with, and I hope your theory is correct, that would make XO really good, especially considering like the timing. I think they're like the last one to talk for the year, right? Like they get like this final platform, and then we won't hear from folks again until Nintendo does a direct either. They'll probably do something small for Smash and Pokemon, but they're not doing like a direct probably until the spring. So Microsoft will have like a little run here, and I mean the only thing that it's just there's no real evidence. That's just like a full prediction. There's nothing pointing them. Nobody's like kind of mentioning, and there might be more. There's nothing like that. It's a lot of everybody like this was probably being held for EXO. But I mean, the news as it is, I'm not here to tell you I'm excited to go pre-order the next Obsidian game, but I think what Microsoft has done in the last year and a half, I think you've got to at least give them some credit. I mean, they've doubled their studio in-house. Like you give them 3 or 4 years and they should have a lineup that's putting out exclusives one every quarter, just like PlayStation. And
I really hope so. And that's the point I want to get across. I really genuinely hope so. My initial comments was, okay, you picked up Playground, you picked up Undead. I said it didn't make sense because they already were essentially making just exclusives anyway. That's all I want from this is Microsoft needs the content for sure. But for me, it makes sense to have new stuff as opposed to the stuff you were already guaranteed to have from these developers.
That's what the initiative is, and that's what Compulsion will be making. And Obsidian, I'm pretty sure, is going to make something brand new.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that's coming.
Okay, so we'll see. We'll agree to disagree for now, and we shall see. I hope Mo's right, though. I hope something happens that floors me, which I think it might.
And we mentioned, we were talking in Discord of who it could be, and we threw out, like, I know there's some crazy ones.
Oh, God, yeah.
I threw out Techland. Ooh. I don't know what their finances are, but if somebody could bring that franchise, if somebody could bring them in first party, that's a big get. Like, would you agree with that, Kevin? Like, I would think that's huge. I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, that'd be a good one for sure.
Yeah. And then I made the funny joke, like, what if they could buy Sega?
Yeah, you're just getting ridiculous.
But Techland was being real. That was my real prediction.
All right, so we're getting up against a hard out for me. So let's cover the last thing here, which is the ever so popular period where I pop a blood vessel in my head, and it's time for Kevin Hates Everything.
He used to enjoy games like Mario and Zelda. He used to like Bethesda and the New England Patriots. He used to love to visit the Nintendo Shack. But now, Kevin hates everything.
Sorry to disappoint. Kevin doesn't hate everything this week. Kevin's more mildly annoyed, I'll go ahead and say. So, and I'll just get out of the way and I'll let you guys talk because I think Mo has some strong opinions on this. So Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out. We all know my opinions on Blackout mode. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. It's what PUBG should be at this point, especially considering they've been working on it forever. So that came out really good. All reports that Call of Duty, Black Ops 4 has had the best launch as far as like no hiccups, no glitches. There's been one thing I've seen where people can use an emote to peek around corners and not be shot, but they're already working on patching that. But that's minor. Servers weren't crashed forever. Like people are enjoying it. That's great. Here's my problem. Black Ops 4 came out and they said, hey, we're not going to have a campaign mode, no story mode. Okay, that irritated people, myself included. That made me say, okay, I'm definitely purchasing Battlefield instead because I want some sort of narrative. And that's fine, but I get it. There are people who play Call of Duty and only play multiplayer, so that's fine. This makes sense. And they said, hey, we're not going to be doing a season pass. Okay, well, guess what? There's not a season pass. They call it a Black Ops pass. This is the same thing, people. For you to get all the content for Black Ops 4, but still not get a story, still not get a campaign, you were spending $100 if you're lucky. That's if you bought the Deluxe Digital Edition. If you buy those two things separately, it's $110. You buy the core Black Ops game, you get Black Ops mode, and you get 14 multiplayer maps. Everything else is not included. You don't get a single other thing for your $60. You need to spend another $50 to get the rest of the game, which ironically enough has more content than the base game itself does. That is the transaction to end all microtransactions, is the fact that you don't get the game and then have to buy more, a couple more hours of additional content. All your content is behind the initial paywall and you're spending about $100 to start playing the game. For me, that's ridiculous. Call of Duty wanted to drop the campaign mode. I didn't agree with it, but I'm okay with it. That's fine. It makes sense. But what they're doing now and saying like, no, actually we do have all this other content, but it's behind a massive paywall is insane to me. That's it. That's all I got. So like I said, I'm mildly annoyed. It just doesn't make sense to me. Coach, your thoughts, sir, because you're a Call of Duty guy.
So again, I've bought in every Call of Duty for years. I'm gonna start you off with a small story, just real small. Me and Lacey went to the Spider-Man launch to pick up Spider-Man 4. She's very excited for the game. She really enjoys it. I have no problem with that. That's her thing. Do you? We went, picked it up, midnight launch. There was maybe 15 people outside. This is a $3.5 million GameStop that we're outside of. That's how much they make on average yearly. They're a pretty big store. 15 people. My wife went to Best Buy for me on Thursday to pick up my Black Ops on the PS4, and I went to GameStop to pick up my Black Ops on the Xbox One, both the $100 with all the bells and whistles included. So my wife said there were over 100 people in line at hers. At mine, at the GameStop, there was 12 groups. That's 10 people per group. That's 120 people prepaid to pick this game up. But that's just something Call of Duty does. We've been used to this for the last, seven games that we have to buy the season pass to get everything. It's just part of the game to us because of the hours it equates to. I'm telling you right now, it's going to equal about 25 cents per hour on the season pass for me, and I'm totally fine with it. Give me some more. So that's all I'm saying. Like, it's just something we're used to.
Okay, that's fair. Donnie, your thoughts to wrap up the show?
I'm not getting Call of Duty. They took out the campaign. That's it. That's the only thought I had on Call of Duty.
That's fair. Okay, Coach Mo, you do bring up a good point, though. I just don't like the misdirection with the announcers saying, "Hey, there's no season pass, but there's a Black Ops pass." No, that's a season pass. It's okay. Just say it, guys. But that's just me. So, All right, time to wrap up the show, guys. Thank you, everyone, tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to Nintendo Shack exclusively if that's something you're into, and keep an eye out for the other ones that come up soon. Head over to twitch.tv/PSVG to see all of our live streams and all that good stuff there. At PSVG on Twitter, and the site, of course, psvg.blog. Donnie, where can people find you, sir?
On Twitter at Playin' Nintendo. Ain't no G's in Playin' Nintendo. And if you did not know, you can follow the Nintendo Shack podcast on Twitter as well at Shack Life.
Perfect. Coach Mo, where can folks find you?
There's some places on the internet, but the biggest one is our brand new at PSVGOT, where Dev does all the tweeting and the things that he does because I have no idea what's going on there. And make sure I think we're only at 40 people. Guys, we should at least be at 43. So help get us to 43.
Fair enough. You can follow me if you're so inclined on Twitter at PSVG Kevin, and make sure you hit up the YouTube and stuff. Subscribe to that as well for PSVG to follow all the videos and live streams and all that fun stuff we do there too. So as always, everybody, we ask that you never stop gaming.